Hello, today we are talking about the women right in the workplace, specifically answering the question, do women face barriers in the workplace when developing their careers across their life? To answer this question, we'll need to look at the statistics to analyze the way women around the globe are being treated in workplaces with the people and especially the expert perspective on the problem and also some consequences to this problem. We will also try to gives out some courses of action based on the results. In general, gender disparity in workplace exists in practically every country on earth. Women jobs are 1.8 times more exposed to this catastrophe than men due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And the fact that the virus is dramatically increasing the burden of unpaid care, which is disproportionately handled by women, is one reason for this larger effect on them. This, among other things, implies that the women employment is declining at a quicker rate than men, even though men and women work in separate industries. Here are some national perspectives. In India, 85% of working women claim to have missed out on a raise promotion or job because of their gender, compared with the regional rate of 60%. In addition, the report found that more than 7 per 10 working women and working mothers feel that managing family responsibility is hindering their career progression, and up to 37% of Indian working women say that they have fewer opportunities than men, while only 25% of men agree. This clearly highlights the difference in perception of the opportunity available in the market for men and women. And in Vietnam, according to our expert Ms. Nguyễn Văn Anh, the results of the 2019 population and housing census of the General Department, women account for 47.3% of the main labor force of the country. The percentage of female master reaches 54.25%, and the rate of third rate reaches 30.8%. However, the percentage of female business owners currently account for only about 30%, and the average total income between women and men at working age in Vietnam is 11.24%. Moreover, the maternity leave policy requires women return to work 6 months after giving birth, while providing almost no public services to care for children under 3 years of age. And here are some opinions of Vietnamese women we collected from our survey. From here, we can clearly see the difficulty that exists implicitly in Vietnam. Although the situation has generally involved, there is still a situation of gender discrimination in the company, causing difficulties for women in the workplace.
Next are the causes. The first cause of women inequality in their career is the institutional mindsets from culture. The sense of discrimination between the sexes does not appear as clearly as in the past, but from some ways of education, it would inadvertently give people the idea of sex discrimination, such as in studies using data from the 1998, 1999, and 2010-2011 kindergarten groups of the nationally representative childhood longitudinal study. Joseph Simpian and Sarah Lubianski found that no gender gap exists in math test scores when boys and girls go to kindergarten, but a gap close to 0.25 standard deviations of development favors boy around 2nd or 3rd grade. Teachers often attribute girls' math success to hard work, while boys' success is attributed to innate ability. And consequently, teacher underestimation of girls in kindergarten through 3rd grade accounts for roughly half of the increase in gender achievement disparities in math. This leads to the male-dominated organizational culture, which in a 2013 study found out by Harvey Nash that it would be the primary barrier to women's development. Many women who are climbing up the corporate ladder believe that the lack of gender parity in leadership positions exists because of the patriarchal values that underlie the leadership structure. This will be the biggest cause and also the one that needs to be addressed because it's contagious. From generations to generations and from humans to humans. If there are still people who are uneducated or ones who are aware of the problem but refuse to reframe their perception, then its influence will not be reduced, causing no small damage to the development of women. Where there are people who still hold such a biased mindset, not only can they pass it on to other uneducated people, but when they teach their own children sexist thoughts, those children will also grow up with stereotype about women discrimination ingrained in their heads, which is very difficult to change. From there, we will create a new generation with people continue to favor men more than women. Additionally, it is also the source of most of the barriers women encounter, like the double burden syndrome, the glass ceiling, and also this belief is still being quite popular in some of the 152 developing countries, which holds almost 7 billion people. The second cause is the lack of affordable cares. This is an obstacle for women in all around the world, both for who finding a job and those already working. In fact, it decreases a women's participation chances by almost 5% in developing countries and 4% in developed countries. A group of roughly 2,000 female Amazon employees with young children, Amazonians, created to urge a company to provide backup childcare benefits, agrees that the lack of affordable childcare has prevented talented women from progressing in their careers. We believe that this is the second most factor contributing to this, since this can cause a lot of negative consequences, similar to what institutional mindsets that men can cause. However, the problematic part of the lack of affordable cares is that there are almost no difference between developed and developing countries, as shown before, the 5% and 4% part in case you wonder, in contrary of the first cause in which developing countries suffer much more impact than developed countries. Despite that, it only contributes 4 to 5% of the decrease in women participation chance of the world in total, much less than the number one cause. There are also other causes like lack of safe and accessible transportation, which mostly happens in developing and emerging countries, self-imposing thoughts, which is also a part of the institutional mindsets created through educations, or the old boy network, which is the social and business connections among white former pupils of male-only elite schools.
Now I'll be talking about the consequences. First of all, about the presence of women directors. This is the most common consequence, as in the same survey that we took, more than half of the respondents mentioned that there are fewer female directors than male directors in their company. Besides, we found out that in the US, only 5% of 500 CEOs are women, and in the UK, only 7% of CEOs in 100 FTSE companies are women. This would mean that women have less chance or opportunity to show themselves when compared to men, though this effect wouldn't affect much, as some employees don't want to do that, and comparing to other following sequels that might happen, it is not so severe. The second one is about the extended time required to advance in their career. Because of it, in order to catch up with men on the path of career development, they will have to try and make much more effort, which might cause an imbalance between work and life. The third on the list will be the wage gap. This particular one is rather common, but has a very large impact on female employees. In fact, this will have the biggest impact on women, as it could potentially make their day-to-day lives unsustainable, especially for those that have the main source of income in their family. The last consequence would be the personal discrimination in the form of sexist comments. It is rather uncommon, as it is extreme and painful to say those words directly. However, if they do it, then it would cause a very negative impact on their mental health. In conclusion, all the objective disadvantages of lower pay, status, and job opportunities would affect psychological and physical stress, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment, and ultimately their performance in the workplace. In short, all of these would cause hardship for women to develop their careers.
Our courses of action, or the solutions, and the first one is to strengthen the leadership of authorities at all levels in raising awareness and implementing the institution on gender equality. Our second solution is to implement the integration of gender equality contents in the formulation of policies and socio-economic development programs and strategies. Next up is our third solution, which is to step up the propaganda and application of information technology to raise awareness for all classes of people about gender equality. Every year, the organization deploys Action Month for Gender Equality and to prevent and respond to gender-based violence from November 15th to December 15th. And the fourth solution is to develop programs to promote gender equality and prevent gender-based violence by including content on gender system at all school levels. Up next is our fifth solution, which is to pay more attention to training to improve the capacity of cadres, civil servants, and public employees. Additionally, we can also prioritize assigning female lecturers to teach in close locations, while also strengthening international cooperation and achieving equality goals. The above 6 solutions are all taken from our expert, so they are all reliable and feasible. While implementing the above solutions, we need to pay the most attention to the implementation of gender equality at work. By doing so, surely each business and unit will be able to remove barriers, narrow gender gap, and create and opportunities for women and men to participate and enjoy equality in their social life and contribute to the sustainable development of their own units and businesses. In summary, we have stated about the situation of women inequality in the workplace in India and Vietnam, and have also local perspectives about this problem. Next to that, we have explained factors that cause barriers to women when they develop their career, and some consequences because of those barriers, as well as compare the causes and consequences to see which has the most impact. In addition, we suggested a few possible courses of action to solve the problem. And with this conclusion, we will wrap up our presentation here. For the survey, we take a lot of our answer from Quora. However, as there are not enough responses, we also asked local people in Hanoi for more results. For the experts' opinions, unfortunately, no experts are willing to plan a meetup with us. However, there's an expert, Ms. Nguyen Van Nang, who gives us their opinions as Word documents, and all the documents can be inspected in the link below. And last but not least, our citations, and thank you for listening.